In this video, we're going to discuss why can't we just add denominators. Now, before we get into it, we need to understand what the numerator and the denominator of fraction mean. So, for our example today, I've chosen 2/3. The numerator we can think of as meaning how much or how many. The numerator is what actually tells us how many we have, how many are left, how many are gone. Whatever the case may be, the situation that we're applying to, it's the how many, it's the how much. The denominator, on the other hand, tells us two things. It tells us how many it takes to make a whole, it also tells us the size. So, if we think of Thanksgiving, particularly Thanksgiving pie, 2/3 would tell us we have 2 slices. That's my how many. The 3 tells me that this has been cut up into 3 slices. So 3 slices would make a full pie. The 3 also tells me the size of the pieces. Each of these 2 slices is 1/3 of the pie. And if we think through Thanksgiving pretty quickly, we can realize that if it was cut up into 4 slices total, or 5, or 6, or 8, that obviously the higher that number here becomes, the smaller the size. With this in mind, let's now take a look at addition. For our first example, let's look at 1/5 plus 3/5. So again, if we think Thanksgiving, if I have 1 slice where it takes 5 slices to make a full pie, and 3 slices where it also takes 5 slices to make a full pie, we can see that all of these slices are the same size. So if we draw that out real quickly, I'm going to do my best to make nice circles here for you. There's two pies that are the same size, and now we're going to try to split them up into fifths. That's not too bad. One more time. Yeah, not as good, but close enough. And now let's fill in our slices. So in the first pie, I have just one slice. In my second one, I have 3 slices. And so now we're going to add these up. So, if we actually take these slices and put them together, then this slice right here can slide in right there, and then these 3 slices can slide in right here, and we can see pretty obviously that there are a total of 4 slices, and their size, well, they're still fifths. It will still take 5 to make a full pie. So the answer is 4/5. And so what we see here is that our numerators add together, but the denominator that describes the size of the pieces stays the same. Just because I put 2 things together doesn't mean they change size. So now let's take a look at what would have happened had we added our denominators together. So 5 and 5 would have made 10, meaning that my circle would have been cut up into 10 slices instead. So there's my 5, and we'll cut each of those in half to get our 10. Now if we added the numerators together, 1 and 3 would still have made 4, so we would have ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we compare how much our pie is full, this is a lot more full than that. So it makes a big difference. This is part of the reason why we can't add denominators. Now we're going to take a look at another example where the denominators are not the same, and hopefully the reason we can't just add them will become even more obvious. For our next example, we're going to take a look at 2/3 plus 4/5. And for the sake of time, I've already drawn out the circles, the pies for this. So we have 2 slices where 3 slices would make a full pie. So there's my 2 out of my total of 3. And 4 slices where 5 slices would make a full pie. So again, there's my 1, 2, 3, 4 slices where 5 would make a full pie. Now let's take a look at what would happen if we go ahead and we just add everything up. So 2 plus 4 would give us 6, and then 3 plus 5 would give me 8. So if this works, I have 6/8 as my answer. And so let's go ahead and fill in 6 out of 8. And there's my 6th. So hopefully we can see here that if this was actually pi, and that were actually pi, and this were actually pi, that if I slide these 2 slices over into this pie tin, that we should have a lot more than this. So adding the denominators just doesn't work. To figure out what does work, check out one of my other videos on adding and subtracting fractions.